Yeah, we could jump right in if everybody's good to go and do a little recap for Ben as to what happened last time. Does anyone want to touch on that? I'll switch us over to the map.
Yeah, there was some interesting happenings. I'm sure I'm gonna forget some of it, so I'll need Andrew your help remembering some of the details. Let me pull up our party journal, see how much I wrote down. Okay, actually, the last thing I have is we got back to Oleg and recruited the Southerners. Were you here for that, Ben? Where we recruited that group that had taken up residence in the post?
Oh no.
So when we
We
got
were
back,
traveling last with you, Ben. We were still on the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Tuesday.
No. Last time I was here, we just finished off the druid.
The Stag Lord's
okay,
father.
Oh, the Stag Lord. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
I think that Oleg was with you during that time at the Stag Lords, and he was pressing to get back to his trading post and check on Svetlana.
Yeah.
And I think the group ultimately decided to head that way. So you took a few days to travel. You did have some horses, I think, and cart with you, and made your way through back to Oleg's. When you got to Oleg's, they had found that there were some visitors basically who had taken over the trading post and that Svetlana was nowhere to be found. Neither was Oleg's horse, and so there was this group basically of Southerners who, as Scott was referring to, who came into the trading post whenever it became abandoned and just
Took it upon themselves to run the place,
yeah,
really.
yeah, they just basically started running it as they expected it would have been, and a few other travelers stumbled in, and throughout that time they were being menaced. There was one of the travelers who had been menaced by a Chimera, and it basically had tracked him back to the trading post and began encircling the fort the one night, and the group took up arms against it. And so the battle that ensued was most of what we did last session, actually. I'm sure I skipped through a lot of things because I know there's several different groups of people in the trading post when you arrived. The Southerners, as you spoke of, there was an older man traveling through who was staying there, and there was another individual who had seen the beast prior to its attack.
And we came across it on our travel up to the post, to the trading post as well. Somebody
Only one of us
spotted it.
noticed it, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
Fen Warden? Wasn't
Fen
he the
Warden,
only one? Like during his watch, I think.
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it was during his watch, and he saw something large in the sky against the backdrop, the night sky, and then he
They
met
could
up.
fly.
Yeah. So essentially, we got into the trading post and we started conversing with the Southerners, as we've called them. There was four of them, and they were apparently just adventurers looking for something to do or a reason to be out and about. They seemed
They were looking for a purpose, and luckily, they didn't seem to have ill intent.
yeah, they seemed to be of good moral character as far as we could tell. And so we started talking to them, trying to actually recruit them to help us with managing forts. And as we were we asleep when the Chimera came in first? Or were we awake? I don't recall.
I think we were asleep when it first
Oh,
came in.
that's right.
But we
Yeah.
had we had done some repairs on the siege weapons,
Hmm.
and then we had our scouts or like our watchmen up on the walls, and
Yeah.
then I believe
It was
it
Rekla. Rekla was
arrived.
up there when it arrived. It started flying in. And so Rekla sent the sole surviving kobold from our exploits to go wake everyone. And we had an encounter with the Chimera. Everybody survived? I think everybody survived, but it,
I think the first time we lost two of the three kobolds, because I think each of us, I think
yeah.
Fenward and Rekla and Voldarius each had a kobold with them, and I believe during that we lost two of the kobolds. Some
That
of
sounds
the
right.
Southerners were, I
Yeah.
believe, previously wounded, but I don't think anybody perished then and there.
So it basically flew in, went into the stables, took a horse, and flew back out.
It was just here
And
for some takeout and just
yeah, it was a real hit and run. But we did a lot of damage to it, or at least we felt we did. And so we organized and laid a trap for it for when it returns. And it did return the next night, I think it was.
Mhm.
And we had created a pit, a spike pit right in front of the stables in hopes that it was going to try to do the same thing and go into the stables for a snack. And it came in and it fell into the trap, but it wasn't completely subdued. Are we still in the middle of the fight?
No,
No,
we
you
took
have.
we scared it off because we set some of the siege weapons to be able to shoot into the open area, so that way we would know where it would land in front of the stables, and we had set some of the siege weapons up to be able to fend it off, hit it with some of those things, and try to inflict a lot there. So we got it
So it's still
with
alive.
a couple of hits.
No, it is.
We did not. Did we kill it?
I went back and looked at the recording to remind myself of where we left off, and you had just killed it. It was just get it back on the screen. There it is. Okay. It was here, pretty much in the doorway, that it took its last shot. So
Yeah, I
it
feel like we just like basically the end of the session was killing it.
at the end. Yep. So the part that transpired after that was that Alaric was telling you a little bit about where he first saw it, and that he and some other hunters had taken some livestock from a pit that was a few miles away, and that in the process of doing such were detected by the Chimera and all fleed in separate directions. And so eventually he came here seeking refuge, and this thing was stalking this area. One of the other pieces of it was that Oleg, when he returned here, was looking for Svetlana, couldn't find her, and he also couldn't find his own horse. So there was some belief maybe that this thing has been feeding here for a little bit longer than just the last 2 nights.
Yeah, and it might explain Svetlana's disappearance as well. So the theory is now
Okay.
to try and track down its lair or wherever the other group had found it and see if we can't locate Svetlana. We went up to 4th level as well.
Yes. Yes. So
Okay,
you
I
can,
will work on upgrading that.
yeah, take a moment. Feel free to bring yourself up to 4th. And yeah, so this has been in the day or so following the battle, where you would have disabled your spike pit, done a little bit of cleanup and rearranging, maybe moving this giant, hideous, beastly corpse out of the stable way, and anything else that anyone is wanting to do or accomplish in this sort of day following before you set off or anything like that. Or is in fact that the really the group dynamic here is, what do you all want to do? I think you actually have more choices than just going to track the Svetlana or the Chimera den.
Yeah,
That's
we talked
not
about
necessarily a slam dunk either. That was just speculation that would be that there would be a connection there.
yeah, we talked about possibly trying to connect with the kobolds again because it had been so long. There's a little bit of concern about what Tartuccio or Tartuk
Mm-hmm.
is doing with the group. So that was another option for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we
Yeah, I
did,
saw on the journal we also had all those like quests that we could go on.
yeah, we got orders from Lady Jamandi. She basically gave us the
Yeah.
option to do another task, to take on another task before we return to Restov.
Yeah, you received a letter in the days or so after defeating the Stag Lord where she was congratulating you, and she gave some information, and they're marked on the map here of some other concerns that she had that she wanted you to look into before returning to Restov. So that was another group of options that you have as well, which is this Lonely Barrow, Candlemere Island, and this Forgotten Keep. So I don't think there's been anything decided about that, but that's another handful of options that exist.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, right
Talking
now
about,
the fort is, as far as you left it, it was empty. You left it, I think there was a single surviving bandit who was locked in with all of the corpses. Essentially, I think that was pretty much how you left the fort, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we sent him on his way.
Okay, maybe
we,
you did.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
We
we,
took his
That sounds more
badge, we
reasonable.
took his dagger, and we sent. 'Cause I think the only one that survived was the one that was out there with the kobold from before we went in the fort. I think
that
all
one.
the rest
Yeah.
of them inside the fort had perished, and I think one of them might have gotten away before, like when we were fighting Beaky, but then the only one that we let go was one that had been with the kobolds as our prisoner.
I want to say we
I
also,
believe we let one go to bait Beaky. Didn't we?
I'm sorry, it was cutting out there, Ben. What was that?
Oh, I thought we let one go in order to bait Beaky, like out of the.
yeah, we
Yeah.
let Beaky chase one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the bandit lieutenants or whatever, one of the that he chased out of there. I think the simpleton guy who was remaining, again, he was the one that you let wander off as well. Regardless, that the fort is not secured.
We did send back word to Lady Jamandi that it would be helpful to have some presence from her militia or some kind of support just to help establish Fort Sorrenco. I don't know. We don't know if she's done anything about that, but we did ask for that assistance.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we
a lot of
talked
options.
with some merchants, I believe, that said they owed us a favor for securing the land and defeating the Stag Lord. We met some priests of Iamide that were going to spread the news that the Stag Lord had been defeated. I think we also, from reading my notes, we told some Mitflits that we defeated the Stag Lord.
Yeah, the Midflits came up
Because
to
you
us and
pulverized two of them,
yeah, used
pulled a down.
Rekla used his sonic burst or whatever and basically turned one of them into a fine mist, and the other two
I think you got two
the
of
other
that
two
because I believe there were
thanked
four.
us. Yeah, they thanked us. The remaining ones thanked us for defeating the Stag Lord, and then I told them to make sure that we never see them again.
And then there was Nettles Crossing.
Nettles
Spirit.
Crossing, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we had taken the Stag Lord's body with us as proof that we had defeated him. But we got to this fjord where we weren't really going to have an easy time crossing. There'd been stories of a spirit. Yeah,
Yep. So
looks like Ben stepped away.
yeah, he had to step away here for a second. But yeah, again, it's several different things you could do. I think one of the things that might have been interesting to you all would have been talking with the Southerners a little bit about the route that they had taken to get to Olix. That would have been through the Gnarl Marches. And they also were able to travel via the Thorn River. So that would have been something to note for yourselves that I'm sure would have come up since you were thinking of going south. You would have asked them a little bit about their travel. Let's see, does anyone have diplomacy?
Yes. I am trained in it, not that that role shows it, but
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to get a sense of what all they would share with you or describe to you. I think one of the one of the issues that they would bring up to you is that there is a logger who operates in this region just north of the Thorn River, and that he has apparently upset a Nixie, which is a creature that you probably may not know a whole lot about, but it's more of a, let's see, what's the description of a Nixie here? It's like it's a humanoid, and it is something that dwells in the forest, almost druid-like in some ways, and they guard some of the different waterways and natural lands, similar in some respects to how a druid would, but they've got a more of a, they're more of like the size of a child, and they have large eyes, like catfish like whiskers, and webbed fingers and toes. So they're not very commonly seen thing. I think that would be something that you've only maybe heard about in what you thought was a fairy tale. But that's one of the sort of intriguing stories that they can tell you about traveling in that area, something that they encountered that you would maybe likely deal with, which there's that. Then you've got your Chimera Den is pretty much, you think, due north of Oleg's trading post. Obviously, the soot scales, you could make a beeline for the soot scales if you wanted to, and
We got
cross
lots
through
of
the
options.
plains, or you head back down the roadway to the fort. So you do have,
We are spoiled for choices.
and I know you're down a ranger tonight, so don't know what that does or doesn't mean for you, but
I am inclined, let's just put it this way. In order of time sensitivity in terms of these quests or tasks that we have ahead of us, seems like that Svetlana is the most time sensitive, because we don't even know if she's in danger or not, or alive or not for that matter. And then I guess maybe the soot scale kobolds would be second in terms of sensitivity.
Agree with that. Definitely, I would be eager to have some understanding or knowledge of Svetlana, so be able to take care of that for him.
so I'll buzz us back over to the Oleg map here. Sounds like you want to head out and look for the Chimera Den. I think Alaric would be obviously persuaded to go with you, given the fact that he's just as curious to see what remains there. And so you've got, let's see, let me move you guys together here into the courtyard. So we've got basically the four of you, and then your southerners. You've got, I'm gonna move everybody back into the courtyard. Take a little roll call here. We have a lot of people. So you've got 3 kobolds left.
I think we only have one, don't we? I thought 2 of them perished with the Chimera. I thought we only had
Oh, maybe I had them.
Kirth.
Kirth did, yeah.
Kirth is the only.
Yeah. Oops.
No, Kirth is alive.
No, I think he's the only
Yeah.
one who's alive.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. So I think
He's got the Stag Lord's helmet. He's fine.
And we gave him back the Stag Lord amulet too, right? Or not the Stag Lord amulet, but old one eye or old sharp tooth rabbit.
No, they still don't know we have it, I don't think.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
I thought
we did
like
give
when
it
we
to him.
cleared
yeah.
we cleared
Well,
the fort,
Yeah, we did give it to him.
we found it down there and provided it to them. Agreed. One love.
all right. Sounds are you guys, I guess Oleg would really want to go with you. It would be up to you all if you wanted him to go with you or not.
Understanding the situation he's in, I feel it would be best if he didn't.
I also think he should stay behind, because what if she shows up while we're gone?
Yeah, someone else might have some knowledge. Best to have him there, be able to receive it. Oleg's trading post is a well-known.
It sounds like diplomacy, I think. How about you guys try diplomacy if you're trying to talk him into staying? Yeah, I think
I'll help
between the
out with
two
that.
of you getting 19, that would be convincing enough for him to realize that you'd be more effective without him. And he doesn't want to get in your way and that sort of thing.
It's easier for us to rescue one person than have to rescue two people.
Yeah.
He wants us to spend all of our time making sure she is safe if possible. He seems the sort.
And he's great. He's grateful that you're going to look because again, it's not necessarily a sure thing.
We'll have him describe his horse to us too, so we can possibly identify if his horse was one of the meals for the Chimera.
Maybe if there's a special saddlebag, or if there's some kind of barding or something that maybe would set him aside from any of the other various horses out there.
Certain type of horseshoe on it or whatever.
Yeah, he could grab
with mark on its left flank.
With that suggestion, he thinks and heads into the stable and he grabs a bell that normally would have been on his lead but wasn't because of whatever happened. So he hands you that bell and says to attach it to his lead. He should recognize it. You can dampen the bell so while you're traveling it's not ringing and stow it somewhere where it's not noise making. And let's see. Lark is really your point of reference. You get the sense that he doesn't maybe have the most reliable way for you to track your way back because of the fact that he was running here in fear from the thing and eventually found his way here to the trading post from the roadway. So he knows pretty much where he thinks the region is, where the lair was, and he can lead you in that direction. I think it would probably take you the better part of the day to travel out there. What's the plan? How would you like
I guess we could load back up on the cart.
Were we ready to send the Southerners to the fort, or were they hanging out by Oleg's until we were? I thought we had tried to get them pushing towards the fort to get some bodies in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with them doing either, to be honest. I don't think Oleg isn't in any immediate danger here by himself, so we could send him off to the fort.
I feel like having them at the fort would be good if I remember the map correctly, because it's right on that river that goes right down to all three things that we could do.
So then if we send them off, send them with wagons, some supplies, or have you for the fort.
Yeah, should we give them a charter? Since we have a charter for the lands, we should give them a charter for the fort. We'd be like, here, we're giving you. We all clear to run the fort.
I thought we did something with one of them, the leader of them. Probably deputized. Yeah, because he was a soldier. I thought we took him on or gave him conditional acceptance into the kingdom effectively once it had been established.
It's not drawing any
memories. I think
me.
you made some promises that if they would help you, that you would. I think what you're getting at is that you alluded to they would have some standing with you in your forthcoming kingdom, right? That you would reward them in some way.
They were looking for a place to be. They were looking for some place to call home.
You were describing to them the fact that you were growing a kingdom and that if they would help you, they would be a part of that. So I do remember you mentioning some of that, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, maybe there's just been vagaries and future promises.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the plan with them then? Do you want to send them forth to the fort or have them come with you, stay here?
I don't think we want to take them with us. It's a lot of people to travel.
I'd say we leave them at the fort. We'll collect them when we return, and then we can travel with them down to the fort and then part with them to go down to the soot scale so long as the fort appears okay or something. The way Oleg's is secure, and then we have more people going down there should there be something else at the fort we need to deal with.
Yeah.
We'll have all of them with us.
That makes some sense.
We took the fort with just a few of us, so having even more should.
And it's not like there's anything at the fort that is of major value other than the fort itself, and it's already in disrepair and trashed. So it'd be
It's-
Hey,
nice
we
to
know the
know
secret
that,
way in.
yeah. And it's nice to know that the trading post is secure with a little bit of a muscle.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
so I think we're
more
gonna
of a
leave them there.
strategic position and one that could become a settlement for you that matters more than, you're right,
Mhm.
any of the items inside. Okay. Sounds like we have got then a general plan here. They're gonna head out towards the fort with.
No, they're gonna stay at the post
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
until we get back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then we were all going to go down as one larger
one
fort.
crew.
Mhm.
Once we're done scouting the Chimera's territory.
So yeah, make sure that they know. Give them a quick rundown of the siege weapons, so that way, if they need to, they can operate them if there is something else that comes up. 'Cause we had gotten, I think, 4 of them over time up and running. Because we did 2 before we knew the Chimera was there, and then afterwards, did we work on the other 2?
I don't know that we spent time working on the other
No.
two.
Mm-mm.
Just yeah,
But,
we have
but
the 2
that's
work.
something you could do with today's time if that's something you wanted to do.
If there's 2 functional, I think with a small enough force, it's not going to make. Wouldn't really be better off to have all 4 of them working. With only 4 of them here in Oleg. Probably best to just leave the ones that are there and save our time for trying to go and get this taken care of.
That and the old man, if you remember, fired a
Ori or something.
spell off at the Chimera during your battle, and so he's got a couple little tricks up his sleeves. Oleg certainly is protected still, I would think, with this group.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna move you guys out of here, and we'll go out into the map for now. All right, so we are in RL1. Okay, what is your mode of travel? I guess you guys are just on foot. Everyone's on foot. No one's taking. There is.
I think we'd take the cart because in the likelihood of maybe finding Svetlana if she's injured or something and can't travel well, if we have the cart, we can transport her. Although I guess that will slow down our speed
I
of
would
travel.
I would want to see if Valeric could tell us, was it relatively easy travel through it? Yeah, he was running, but if he was running in the dark and through the night and whatever, was it easy enough for him to go, or was it more uneven ground where he was struggling to try to keep any sort of speed?
He could attest to the fact that the wagon would have difficulty getting up and down the hills. Once you left the roadway, it would be very slow going. It's not like it's full of trees and rocks or anything, but it's not a really cleared roadway, so
Sure. That makes sense. So we'll go,
Because
I guess,
there's
by
only
foot because
2
we don't
horses.
have,
Right?
yeah, we don't have enough horses.
yeah.
I'm a gnome. Rekla's a gnome, so he can ride with someone, but we've got 5 people that are going.
Okay.
I think we have to go by foot.
Yeah. All right, no problem. You all head out onto the roadway. You're heading east for a few hours, and I'm gonna have, let's see, let's have Ben, if you would. Could you roll a 3d20 for me, please? I'm just gonna use that to determine weather.
Okay.
So, as luck would have it, it is actually thunderstorming. As you're heading out, the storm is moving in, and the rain pretty much starts, and it continues throughout your journey as you're heading east for a few hours, and you finally reach an area where there's a patch of trees, and Alaric says, "This is it," and he points north from the roadway and signals that it's time for you to get off of the roadway. And just as you're doing that, I'm going to have you guys roll perception, please, the whole group. All right, so Dalit, you notice the others are maybe preoccupied with what the direction Alaric was pointing, and You notice that further down the roadway, it looks like there's something coming down the road in your direction, and it catches your eye as the others are lost in the mist here. But it appears to be, looks like two humanoid figures, and that they might be on horseback coming in your direction in the distance. Anything you want to do?
I will let everybody know that, hey, there's two people up there. Look out in the rain.
So the others, you can definitely, if you take a moment to look, see these figures coming in your direction. Is anybody going to be doing anything in the time before they get
How
closer?
far away?
I'd say it's really on the edge of your distance right now because of the rain, that they're maybe 60 yards or so away. 50 or 60 yards away.
I don't think there'd be anything else at this point. Just if they're moving quickly on horses, or at least faster than we are on foot, well, they're sort of step to the side and wait to see what happens, but have his a hand on his hammer.
I think Rekla would try and just maybe blend into the edge of the tree line just to
Okay.
give us some kind of tactical advantage in case it's needed.
Yeah, Larek is
Yeah, I guess
following
you can-
Rekla's lead too. He's trying to hide. He doesn't know
Well,
better.
Darius will
Yeah, we
go
can
ahead
just pull
and
the cart over and let them come to us.
We're walking.
You're walking. Yeah, you ended up leaving the cart just
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was too cumbersome. But all right, after a few moments, you see these figures approaching, and they would notice, those of you who didn't try to hide they would obviously notice you, and when they get within about, let's say, 50 feet, they raise their hands, palms out towards you, and as they're approaching, to let you know that they see you, and they're hailing you to parlay.
Greeting.
And
Yeah,
when they get
give
a
them
little
one
bit closer, you notice that they have actually, let me save an image real quick for you guys. They are wearing a crest that you would have seen before, a crest of Restov. That's what you would notice as they get closer to you. These two, what appear to be soldiers, hail to you and say, "Hey, hail, travelers!
met.
We are headed to the trading post. Is everything in order?"
Trading post was in order when we left it, when we departed earlier today. Leg is in command, and walls stand. The gates are secure, and the fire is warm.
I can tell you these roads are much faster, faster to travel now that the bandits seem to have been dissuaded.
Yes, we've heard that the Stag Lord has been defeated. Some mighty fine warriors.
Oh, you know of him. You know of him. Well, that's
The
his.
Stag Lord?
Yes.
We had the unfortunate opportunity to make his acquaintance, yes.
Does one of you have the Stag Lord's helmet?
Isn't it on Kirth?
The kobold is wearing it.
Okay.
I was figuring like I would have him like behind me a little bit so he's out of sight right away. But being a smaller character.
He's got a
yeah, so
beard
like
also sticking out behind you.
Yeah.
it's Scooby Doo logic. He just has to turn to the side, and then
Right.
it's
And
a
then
much
it's totally
smaller
flat.
profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's what would get their attention at this point, is one of them would tap the other one on the shoulder and say, "Take a look at this." And they look down at the unusual looking kobold who's wearing this giant stag helmet. Probably does not fit him very well, but it's
No
gotta look really cool.
comment.
And
Yeah, no one. Oh, the Stag Lord! He returned.
one of them,
Hold, I just.
will say, "Then you are the ones who cleared the Stag Lord from the fort."
We have rid the fort and the land of the Stag Lord. Yes, it is us.
So you must be a part then of Tartuccio's group.
More like
I'm
Tartuccio's
gonna
part of our
start
group.
that.
I'll stick out.
You'll have to forgive my friends. They're somewhat excitable. We are acquainted with Tartuccio as much as we're acquainted with the Stag Lord, but we are not part of his group.
Oh,
Is Tartuccio saying that he killed the Stag Lord?
his retelling was quite complimentary to you.
Tartuccio's retelling. Tartuccio has told of the tale.
Yes, he welcomed us into the fort. He described the battle in quite great length. He told us that we would find you out this way.
So they came up behind us?
No, he came from the fort.
We
Yeah.
were headed north.
No, you came out of
We
the
left
trading
Oleg's
post.
and headed north.
No, you have to head north after heading east. You're going on the roadway east, and then you're gonna leave the
I see.
roadway
Okay.
to go north, and then they were coming from the east.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I
Now
thought
that
we were
makes
going
sense.
just. I thought we were
thought
just
these were
going north as
brand
well.
new people
No,
that were
I
coming
should have
from another
marked
area.
it on here. My bad, but that's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, lovely.
Good.
Tartuccio.
Excellent. I'm glad he's there as we left him in the fort.
Yes. You know what? We should go speak with Tartuk as well.
Yes, it would be very good to let Tartuk know, as well as Tartuccio.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the news has been well received. Of course, Lady Jamandi will be curious to know more about your allegiance with Tartuccio as he describes it, but
I'm
nevertheless,
sure she will.
Yeah.
nevertheless, Restov is proud to have
Mhm.
been able to push you towards this outcome and to rid us of the Stag Lord.
Yes, it is beneficial for all. Truly.
Tell us, have you seen traveling the area a woman? And I'll try to describe Svetlana. Are you familiar with Svetlana?
One of the two guards will say, "Yeah, I remember her from Oleg's. She's Oleg's wife. We've not passed anyone like that."
Very well. She has gone missing, so please do be on the lookout.
We are headed to visit Oleg's. We had a suspicion. We figured we should check it out, and if we want to just confirm everything is in order. Some of our groups that came to visit the fort were returned to Restov to deliver the news to Lady Jamandi, and we proceeded west to visit Oleg's. After hearing some of the tale, we figured it best to see it for ourselves.
And you should get Oleg's telling of the tale as well.
Very well, we shall do that.
He is an honorable and trustworthy source, staple of lands. His tale will speak truth.
Where do you all head?
We are in search of Svetlana. We encountered a Chimera, a beast of the most unnatural sort, and we fear that it may have absconded with Svetlana.
Very well. Well, may your journeys be safe. We will maybe meet again, but after we check in with Oleg, we should be returning towards Restov. So, if we shouldn't, for whatever reason, please travel safe, and we will see you when you return to the kingdom.
Wonderful.
If you see Tartuccio again, tell him the Hungering Blade will be stopping by.
We shall. This is
Please, my name is Rekla. It was a true pleasure to meet.
yes. Thank Rekla. My name is Vortin.
Orton.
Again, come and find us if you return to Restov and we don't cross paths. I will vouch for our conversation and at least let the lady know that there may be some different sides to the story before she has to sort through it all.
Excellent. Most appreciated.
Let's see. So with that, they will head off towards Oleg's, and you all are now getting off of the roadway, walking through the wetlands northward. It's early afternoon right now, and the storm is still going. But the visibility isn't terrible. You can see a little ways ahead of you. and you're led up the hills, down some valleys, and Alaric looks like he's trying his damnedest to recall exactly where he was, and eventually he brings you all to a small wooded area that's across from one of the rolling hills that you're on, and he points to it. He says, "There." And as you look over, you really don't see anything much, just looks like brush. And as you head up, though, towards it, you start to see up in the head that there's like a clearing. And in the clearing, there appears to be a ditch. Let me move you guys to the map. All right, so yeah, to here. All right. Yeah, so you see some downed trees in the area around the hole, and as you get closer to the hole, you can just see again that there's some moved brush. Are you guys able to see the map, by the way? Okay,
Yes.
okay, cool. And then this is when I guess you can get within about this distance of the hole before I'll ask you to tell me how you want to proceed.
I can stealth closer. Or I think I'll stealth a little closer.
Okay, anyone else?
Valeris will let Dalit stealth closer.
Okay.
Yeah, Rekla was stealth, but stay behind.
All right.
Is this a buried chest, or is that just flavor of the map?
That's just a down tree. It's like a log.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to have fungus on it.
okay. That makes more sense.
So let me move you guys a little bit in this direction. Dalit and Rekla, you guys have moved off a little bit towards the hole. And when you reach the brush on the outer edge of the hole, you move the brush a little bit. And when you do that, you see some bats flitter up out of the hole away from you and circle around and out of the area. So you definitely know that your approach wasn't very stealthy because of how you disturbed the bats. But other than the bats, when you get next to the hole in the ground and you look down in it, you don't see anything else right away. It appears to be about as far down as you can see, and you can't really see the bottom of the hole. There's a couple of different ledges in the hole, and Alaric will follow the two of you, and he'll at this point be whispering because he's pretty shook still, even though he thinks you've killed the beast, and he's pointing over to the ledge. He's there. That's where the goat was that we took. And you can see, like, on this ledge, this northern ledge here, where it would be easy for something to be standing and moving about.
I try to continue stealthing up to the really up to the edge of the hole here to see if there's anything that I can see moving around in the hole.
Okay, yeah, so if you want to do a perception check.
Yeah.
So if you get that closer angle, you can start to see that on multiple ledges beneath you, starting here and moving all the way around, there are little living areas where you think different creatures were. You could see bones laying in several of these spots, and it sounds consistent with what Alaric described to you as a place where the Chimera was able to keep its food and come back and get it when it wanted it. And right now it looks like the pantry's empty. So there are no living creatures here, but there are signs of many that were once living here. That's really what you're getting. I think the other thing is that you get about the hole itself is that it just goes out of your distance. You can't really see the bottom of the hole, and it looks towards the bottom as if it's pretty round, just like on the map. It's a fairly defined round hole in the ground, a little bit maybe unnatural in appearance, although the rest of the hole itself appears to be more natural.
Okay. I'm just going to return to everyone, tell them that there doesn't seem to be anything to worry about. No chimera. No animals hanging around.
That's good. Let's find our way down.
Just a hole in the.
I'm assuming, I don't know. Maybe that's where its lair is, where it would take things. Did Alaric see it take a meal anywhere at any point?
It, according to him, it picked it up out of here and flew north of here.
This might not be where its lair is. This might just be
This is
where
just
it
its-
stores things, its pantry.
Yeah.
And then we need to be going further north. I want to ask
breakfast
Kirth.
enough.
What was that?
I want to ask. I want to ask Kirth if the stories of the chimeras, because it's a mythical creature to them, if they have a common lair thing where do they dwell in the forest and the trees, or do they have a cave somewhere, or do they find old ruins and take them over? The legends, because there's usually some kind of truth to like, tales. Kirth has any kind of knowledge of that, where it might be for.
That's a good question. Let's see if he has any knowledge. Let's see. So let's see. I think that it basically would be in an underground lair or a cave dwelling, pretty similar to most other. So it doesn't seem to know anything out of the ordinary there, but he can confirm that they would live in a place like this possibly. And I think the bones, the way that the bones are scattered about on the ledges, would make you think that this would be a very reasonable den or location for the Chimera.
You just try to get closer to the hole and see what happens.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that. Let's do it.
All right, so whoever wants to move up, go. You could do a stealth check, and then you can do a perception check for everybody that's going up to the edge of the hole.
I'll give myself guidance for the perception.
Hmm.
I didn't necessarily need it, maybe.
Not necessarily.
No.
All right.
Perfect timing.
Oh, he got dropped. No problem. Let's see. Reklo, you're a gnome, right?
Yes.
You're a gnome. So maybe something about your gnomish sense has allowed you to look down into the darkness a little bit, and you start to notice that it might be a little bit deceptive, that the bottom of the layer appears to be covered in water, which is almost really difficult to see. It's just like glass to where you can see right through it, and the way that it sits, the water from the top of the ledge is very difficult to detect. So you're seeing now a little bit more clearly the reflection.
Yeah. Well, he'll grab a rock at his foot and toss it down. That way it can let everybody else see what he's seeing.
Yeah, so Rekla drops this rock down into the water. You guys hear this splash after a few seconds, and this ripple in the water that makes it really evident to you. And as you do that too, I think you notice also with a roll that good, Rekla, that you're seeing. Yeah, we hear you. You hear us now, Andrew?
Oh, I can't hear him.
I heard him for a second.
I heard him for a second.
Oh, now I don't hear you.
I can see his mouth moving, but
yeah. But Rekla, you see something shining in the water as well. Not just the ripple, not just the surface, but something under the surface.
Point and go.
Shiny. Yeah, let's give Andrew a second and see if he's able to get his audio back.
Test.
Oh, yep, testing good.
We heard you.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
All right, here we go.
There we go.
All right, so I think there was a stealth and perception check asked for.
Yes.
Yep.
And you can move yourselves to the water's edge for those of you that are, or the hole's edge there. Yeah. So Voldarius, you would have noticed, as Rekla did, that the water that was sitting at the bottom, or at the very bottom, there's a pool of water that was deceiving, making it look as if this hole went into out of your vision, but really it didn't. And there's a little pool at the bottom of this hole, and in that, after he dropped the rock, you could see some twinkling and sparkling of something underneath the water. And so Rekla and yourself would be able to notice that. Rekla is calling out shiny. And what would you like to do?
Oh,
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
detect metal.
There
Oh,
you
yeah.
go.
Wow.
That might be the
Perfect.
first time I've ever seen that used.
I think he used this before.
I used it in scaled mines to find a little bit of silver that was actually still there.
Nice.
But it's the second time I've used it. No, I think I found a chest of, or like a bag of coins or something at one point. But it's doesn't
That's
usually
pretty
come
handy.
up.
Pretty
Yeah, it's a nice little bit of utility there.
So you detect that there appears to be a significant amount of metal. I think. Let's see. How does it? Yeah, you detect that there is some silver and copper, gold somewhere down there. All three of those.
Okay. A logical kind of conclusion would be coins of some variety.
Yeah.
There might be some amount of coinage down there. You detect some bits of silver and copper, a bit of gold down there.
So it's about
Um,
30 feet
Uh,
down from the ledges. Like you can get down to the ledges, and then from the ledges, it's about 30 feet down. So it would take you'd either have to do a athletics check to try to climb.
Could we lower a kobold on a rope?
just one kobold?
We've
They
only got one kobold.
They got tiny little hands.
He sees that it's worth something, then he'd send someone else down there too. But
see. Yeah, I don't really have any magic that helps in this instance.
no,
I have dancing lights. I could put some lights down there so we could see what we're working with.
I could make it taste
I could
good.
try to
But
just jumping in.
Find out how deep it is.
Can I use an athletics check to try to get down there?
Yeah,
Is it like a sheer drop or is it incline?
you can move around a little bit to try to lessen the verticality of it, but it's a climb. You're gonna be climbing. When you go down, you're gonna use athletics.
Take
Right.
some
Yeah.
guidance.
Solid athletics roll. Wow.
Do you want to astonish or hero point that? Because I'm gonna tell you
Yeah, I
that
might
won't
as
meet it. You're 2 away. You're 1 away with the guidance. Sorry, you're 1 away with the guidance. You need an 18 or better. You rolled a 5 for
For
Yeah.
reference.
reference. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
All right, perfect. Dalit uses his and is able to traverse down to the edge of the water. You can see now, standing on the water's edge from down there, that there appears to be maybe a couple hundred coins of different denominations laying in the water at the bottom of this. One of, I think, the other things that you would notice is that there are, a few bones also laying down here in the water as well, but not as many as you saw up above as when you were dropping down, not that many. But yeah, so what would you like to do, Dalit?
I'll yell up that there's a ton of coins. There's a treasure trove.
Here, we'll
And,
lower a backpack down on a rope so you can fill it up, and we'll pull that up, and then that way you won't be weighed down
Yeah,
when you're
how,
trying to get
how
back out.
deep are the
So the water in the middle looks like it's about 10 feet deep.
Okay,
On the
cool.
outer edges, you could stand on the outer edges of it, and then in the center, it kind of deepens to its deepest point, being about 10 feet. And yeah, so it just looks, again, if you want to take a closer look here, if you want to do maybe a perception check here, Dalit, since you're standing on top of this stuff.
He's got the new perspective.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of bits and bobs mixed in with the coins that you see as well. So all sorts of kinds of different metal looking objects that you're able to see from here, but certainly a lot of coins, several hundred coins in total. Would you like to proceed with this? If you're going to swim, it's also athletics, but again,
I assume I'll have to take my armor off because I have chainmail on right now.
yeah, I would think that's necessary to stay mobile.
Yeah, so I'll leave my armor and my sword up there on the edge.
Okay.
Let me see. I think I have a dagger. Yeah, I'll keep my dagger with me just in case. But other than that, I'll make an athletics check and try to swim down there and grab some coins.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Wow.
interesting. Oh,
Look at that.
A fish.
So
yeah.
tell us, how does Dalit
Didn't take.
go about this in a way that he comes back with a full bag of coins?
I'm gonna go for the swan dive, just straight up, straight down into the water like a pencil,
Right to the
and
deepest point.
yeah, exactly. It just hangs out down there, sweeping coins into the bag, and then just hauling ass up, exploding like a frog out from the bottom.
Perfect.
Try to do the hair flip when I come up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll have you put in here what you were able to find, what you were able to scoop in the amount of time you had underneath.
I'll try to get some of the bits and bobs just in case there.
So yeah,
And,
there are still some more things in the water here. You're able to see, but you got like the heart of the deepest part. You got the big massive coins. You were able to pull a lot of them out and bag them and pull them up right away. But yeah, if you'd like to try again, you can try.
Yeah, I feel like I'm feeling overconfident here, so I'm going to try again.
Okay, so this time,
Okay.
let's see, unfortunately, you're not as successful. Maybe you got the water
Yep.
stirred up, and it's difficult now, a
There you
little more
go.
difficult to see under there. And so you're able to get down there and get your hands on a few things and grab handfuls of things, but not really get the full bag over top of the coins like you did last time. Although, interestingly, you did come up with a ring in this batch. Okay, so here.
I think I'm going to try one more time. Just riding high, disappointment. I'm going to try to go for the high again. It's real secret.
like a true gambler.
Yeah, exactly.
He can stop anytime he wants.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, this time you're able to get back down there. Maybe the water has settled a little bit more to where you feel like you can get the vast majority of what's left on this dive, this particular dive. And so you're able to get down there and do pretty much a cleanup of all the remaining areas. And you find, let's see.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so this time you've come up with some more coin and an amulet that you've been able to pull up that have meaningful value. Most of the other little bits and bobs seem like little broken parts and metal bits to utensils and other things that don't have a lot of value or meaning to you, but these would be the things that you've sifted through and determined are worth keeping. And now that you look back at the water, you don't see a whole lot that even catches your eye anymore. It seems like most of what caught your eye you've been able to put into the bag, but you're more than welcome to continue trying if you'd like.
I feel like I'd be satisfied at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I've added that to the party loot.
All right, so you can try to climb your way out of here with another athletics check. Actually, to get out, it's 2 athletics checks.
Can we throw a rope down to him so that way we can try to assist him with coming up?
Yeah, if you guys want to pull on the rope while he's going up, he'll only have to do 1 check, and you can get a +1 as well, Dalit.
Okay.
So that way you don't have 2 chances. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's enough rope to be able to secure it on something or at least a person. And Alaric's a large enough individual that he could be an anchor for it, and the rest of us up there giving him a pull.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
So it almost barely feels like there's anything on the rope because Dalit's found some footholds most of the way up.
Looks like 60s Batman on the way up.
Hailing the roof.
Yep. Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've made it back to the top. You're able to recover all of this and all of your armor and weapon back as well, and pretty much just confirmed what you think is that this was likely its den for some time at least. And unfortunately, you don't see anything else here that really seems to indicate anything about Svetlana or the horse. Yeah.
Well, sometimes no news is good news.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and use prestidigitation to clean off some of the slime and dirty water that might remain on Dalit. Just congratulatory little
Nice.
flourish.
Although his
Hold up a
armor
card with a
looks
number 9.
pristine. But now the rest of him is looking cleaned up too.
Little warm air blowing over the sopping wet head.
Anything else you guys want to wish to do while you're here?
I'm sorry, was it the idea that it carried its meals off to a certain area to eat?
Yeah, you believe that it would have either brought a meal back here. If it wasn't going to eat it, it would probably keep it here until
Yeah.
it wanted to eat it. And if it was going to eat, it would probably just find a place near where it caught its prey to eat. So you could try to search to that point. You could try to search east or westward, stay northwest to see if you could find where it had fed, possibly on something else. But again, you don't really have any other lead.
I think there's some merit in trying to follow its path on ground and maybe possibly running into Svetlana, but that's gonna slow us down greatly trying to basically bushwhack our way.
Especially if it takes to the air, we're just going to lose the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even Alaric is like giving you guys like the vibe that that he even like maybe makes like a really off-color comment at one point that like Lana probably just decided to leave Oleg finally. Who's to say?
She did seem fairly capable too. I think she can handle herself to some degree, but against a Chimera was what concerned us.
Agreed.
It does not seem that this is going to return any more than we've already found, so likely we can cross this off. Have to keep alternatives open for looking for a Svetlana at some point.
If you would return me to the road, I can return to Oleg's with this news so that you may be on in your travels.
Aye, but we were hoping to accompany you to Fort Sorrenco as well with the others.
Had we discussed bringing Alaric in on this?
Was Alaric not with the Southerners?
No, he was not. There was
he's
the
a
fourth.
separate. Okay, yeah,
There were
yeah.
the 4 Southerners. There was Alaric, and then there was Ore, I believe.
In that case, then no, I won't say that.
Seemed a little.
Yeah, that's yeah. He's a more of a farmer / hunter who's from this region. He doesn't know those 4 Southerners, so he ended up there completely differently from them. And he will offer to deliver the message to Oleg and to let the Southerners know that they can begin their travel to the fort.
Yeah. Maybe what we can do is try to rendezvous with them. Because it's more than a one night or more than a 1 day travel to Fort Sorrenco, right?
Yeah.
If it's
So maybe
like
3 days, yeah.
But maybe we pull up to where they would get on their day 1, so we'd be there when they're ready to. We can set up camp and then
actually
they can
takes
meet
some
us on
good
the
time
road.
to find a good campsite.
Yeah.
Okay, so the plan is to return to the road, let Alaric head west to inform Oleg and company of what you found. You guys gonna break off a little change for Alaric there?
He did show some fortitude in coming back to the scene of the scariest moment of his life. So
Yeah, it's true. He
let's
did
see.
brave it
What
out.
do we got? What do we got for him?
What do you pay?
He's a hunter, so he's someone who doesn't seek wealth necessarily, but he obviously needs something to live off of, and he was hoping to find remnants of or signs of his hunting partners, and that's also something that's eluded you, is you haven't been able to find any of their whereabouts either. So he's just someone who would need some basic supplies in order to survive and get himself back to where he was prior to all of this happening.
We left that at Fort Sorrenco. We've
We
got
brought a lot of the
the
supplies and
Stag
goods
Lord's
with us,
hide
right?
armor. We could just give him that. It's probably worth something.
Bragging rights, at least.
Yeah, it's looking like how much basic equipment costs. I'm gonna just give that.
Yeah, we just break him off a couple of gold and he'll be set for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think it would take him much to be happy with either thing. If it's coins or an item that has some value for him to get by.
We can give him a couple of the, if they're good solid silver, we can just give him a couple of those medallions. So those things will have it. There. So,
Yeah, you have so many.
We have so many of those in
We left all those back at Fort Sorrenco, or no, we traded them to Oleg.
Yeah.
Did we trade all of them to Oleg?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you want to keep, you had one for your.
I had one because I was using it for blasting off silver.
Actually, I don't remember that you sold them to Oleg. I just remember that you showed
We
them
had given him
to
like, a
someone.
lot of other supplies. And I
Yeah.
know we had been showing off the.
If you look in the loot of the journal area,
Mhm.
Yeah,
when we were
I'm looking at
talking
it
about
now.
it, I separated it
Okay.
from what we were leaving in Fort Sorrenco and what we were giving to Oleg. And
I thought that's just what we were taking with us, not necessarily giving to him.
no, I think the idea was we were basically using that as
As
our
we're gonna put
as
him up for like sale or whatever, like for
Yeah.
the trading
To
over there.
supply him and to
Right.
start a
I mean,
trade.
so then, yeah, like we could write him a writ of, oh, by our hand, he is deserving of 5 like pelts or
Or
whatever.
give him, hey, tell Oleg we said you get a 5% discount. That'll pay off over his entire life.
Yeah, preferred trading over all of it with our.
Yeah, we just started a loyalty program at Oleg's. Well,
Give us
your mailing address.
I think that and a couple of coins he'd be more than happy. He'd be more than happy.
There's
He
can we
get
sent
by
a
on a
cloak
week
of animal
for,
fur, right? Was that
about
the
a
thing
gold.
from? Was the cloak of animal fur from one of the Stag Lord's people?
Believes? Yes, it probably was.
Yeah, it was.
Someone who's an outdoorsman would always enjoy a good cloak.
Yeah, we'll send him off with some coin, and he can pick whatever he wants from the supplies that we left with Oleg. Within reason.
No, that's
you
fine.
know.
So let's just
And
say
just
that
write him a small little hilarious, just a little letter of trade saying that he's
That's
earned it.
you can really put in your own words whatever you want to tell Oleg too. So you can write that all down, send Alaric on his way, and then that saves you guys the travel of having to go back and forth. So you can send Alaric, he'll head that way. You guys can continue then eastward.
Yeah.
Back towards the fort. Okay.
Oh, and our good friend Tartuccio.
Mm-hmm.
So excited to see him again.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. We'll take a mid-session break here.
Okay.
And we'll do 5 minutes or so, and we'll come back and figure out where we're at.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Sound good?
All right. I think it's time to explore our way back towards the fort. As far as the current day is concerned, you do still have some daylight hours. I assume you're going to use those hours to travel forward a little bit until...
Yeah, I think the goal was to get to somewhere where the Southerners could catch up to us on their first day.
All right, let me move us to the map. So you're trying to get to where they would be after a full day, and then you're going to not travel for a day? Is that the idea?
How long did it take us to get up to where we are?
About
Like
about
a half day to
day.
get, right? And then we messed around and did some stuff, so we lost some time to travel. So we just continued traveling until the end of our day.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can travel on. Let's see if there's anything along the way. Yeah, so you're able to travel throughout the day and make your way pretty much, to the edge of where you would have been on a full day. And I assume you're going to go ahead and start to set up a campsite. So you'd be like here. So whoever wants to try to find the campsite can roll a survival check. It's a DC 18. Perfect. So you both found a good site, but Reckless maybe is a little nicer.
Yeah.
And then you can proceed to try to camouflage the site, which is a stealth check, DC 18. Dalit did that, and then I think Voldarius, you could still do something which, let's see, that here. So we camouflaged it. You could cook, or you could hunt and gather. You
We
could
can also
watch. Organized watch gives you a bonus.
Only Fen Warden can organize the watch, really.
Oh, yeah, because it is
think, yeah,
expert in
brain
perception.
expert, yeah. Yeah, I can cook us up a meal.
All right.
And Rekla will hunt and gather.
So it should be then a total of, I think it's 4 ingredients per person. 4 times the 3 of you. 12 ingredients would be needed to cook. You can go ahead. Yeah, you can search Rekla.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's a success. Critical, what's the zone DC here?
Let's see, hunt and gather. Yeah, that's a critical success.
Twice. Twice the zone's DC, +4 special.
Okay.
I
Somebody
think
burnt
I'll
the
go
food.
ahead and I may go ahead and just hero point that.
So 32. Okay. I see that. A little better?
Yeah, so that's just it's a meal. There's nothing special about this
Yeah,
one.
no one's sick.
But it doesn't hurt us.
Yeah. So you're able to scrounge something up in these conditions. It's been raining all day. It's not an easy day of travel, although you really didn't run into much on the road other than a few soldiers earlier in the day. Rekla, you were able to scrounge up the 32 basic ingredients. So you had a windfall there, and you had 4 special ingredients also that you found. And yeah, that's it. So you've got yourself set up for the night, it looks like.
How many basic ingredients did Voldarius need for cooking?
He needed
4
4
per person.
4 per person.
And we have
Basic ingredients per serving.
Oh,
2
is it
per
2? Oh,
serving.
sorry.
And we have 4 of us, including Kirth. Alright. Cool.
Okay.
I think he has any special dietary restrictions.
He probably prefers bugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Earthworms.
Slimy yet satisfying.
All right. So what is tonight's watch order? We'll run through this.
And Voldarius can go first.
Rekla will take second.
Yeah, I was going to take last watch.
All right, so I'll put Kirth right between Rekla and Dalit. Like that. Okay. All right. In the middle of the night, the storm stops, and that's about all that happens. You all awaken to a soggy morning, and was uneventful during the evening. So you're
Nice
all
change
able
of pace.
to get yourself situated here for the next day. Let's have Rekla roll 3d20 today. Let's see how the weather is today.
Pretty much the same as yesterday.
It's a little different. It's actually going to be pretty heavy fog today, but not a whole lot of moisture in the air. Otherwise, like, not a lot of rainfall. So that's really how you start today, is in the fog. What's the plan as you're heading into the fog? Are you trying to lay up here, or were you?
Yeah, I think we're only looking to do a half day or so, right? Because I don't know how fast the Southerners are going to be traveling. We're on foot. They might be bringing a cart.
Yeah, going at I think like half speed, so that way the hope is that they'll catch up to us this day.
Okay, so maybe you just find your camp a lot earlier in the day, and you can do a lot more camping activities. You guys could do two
Oh yeah.
activities apiece and really take advantage of the extra time that way. So yeah, we'll do that. Let's see, how does it go? So today, as you're riding on the road, as you're coming down one of the hills across the field in front of you, you look and see what look like a couple of travelers who are pulled off to the side of the roadway. Seems like they've started a little fire and they're sitting there on some logs, enjoying some warmth. That they do have two riding horses with them as you're approaching. If you guys want to do perception checks, I can see if there's anything else you might observe about them. Oh, there you go.
These guys, Valdarius?
It's like we're old friends.
Yeah. Let's see. So Valdarius, you see when you get a good look at them, it looks like they are, to you, potentially like bards or performers. And you get that impression just not really necessarily from the way that they're dressed, but because you're looking around and you look on their saddlebags and you see a couple of instruments, what you think are instruments, hanging off of the sides of each of the horses. So you're thinking like they might be some type of bard group or traveling performers. That's your sense, at least coming into it, is that. And when you guys get, within a certain distance, they don't seem to be alerted to you unless you guys are trying to sneak around them, or otherwise you're going to come across their camp.
I think these ones will have a lot of loot. Seem to be of the musical variety.
So you approach, and as they're rolling by, you hear that they were having a conversation, and as you're getting closer, they're looking at the roadway in your direction, and they see you all walking soggily down the road, and they say, "Would you like some warmth by the fire, friends?"
Never will say no to that.
A mighty fine invitation.
Please make yourselves comfortable. And they move a couple of rocks and pieces of wood that sit about that you can almost sit on, and have a little makeshift seating area for yourselves to sit and get a little warmer. So you're able to get in closer to them, and that they are indeed appear to be dressed as travelers or some type of pretty practical clothing and whatnot. But you definitely all would now notice some of the instruments that would hang off of their horses, like a flute and a lyre. It's like a stringed instrument as well. Yeah, you get the sense that they either enjoy a good campfire song, or that they may do that for a living. But as you make yourselves warm by the fire, they're like passing around a bottle and drinking something that seems to be some substance that seems to be warming them up. And they offer you some brandy, friends. Brandy.
Saying a warrior must retain his senses.
What news from the road? Have you heard of the bandits? The Stag Lord has fallen.
I know of none in this area who have not heard of the bandits, but that is the case. The Stag Lord is no more. Bandits are scattered.
So it is
Roads
true.
are safe.
You
Where
notice
do you come
that
from?
as you're asking them where they're from, you notice that their eyes are drawn to Kirth and his headdress as well. And they say, "You know of this then? The Stag Lord's demise. Is it as Tartuccio speaks? We have a lot
We
to
know
write."
not. We cannot vouch for anything that comes from Tartuccio's mouth, but we can tell you what we experienced.
Stag Lord is no more. That is true. Anything more than that, you might have been misled.
If you would tell us your tale and make camp with us for the evening. We would love to hear more.
Maybe I can make us some second breakfast.
Very good. We were just beginning to write some prose towards Tartuccio's telling, so that your arrival is most fortuitous for us to verify perhaps some of the details of the story. Maybe you could start over and just tell us from the beginning what happened. How did it end?
Who's the best? I guess it's gonna be Rekla because his charisma is crazy.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
no, I didn't take that feat. Never mind. I thought I took a charisma feat.
Yeah, I've got a decent charisma, but no performance.
I guess we could move to the campsite.
Yeah, this is a camping activity. I guess Rekla has
could
to
bring
tell a
alcohol.
story as his camping activity.
Yeah, basically we'll run this as if you guys would have 2 or 3 camping activities apiece that you could do if you're willing to make camp now with them.
Does someone want to aid me in telling the campfire story?
Yeah, I'll give you some aid.
Yeah.
All right. So what is
Here
the
you
check for it?
Can you use
Performance
diplomacy for that, or is that a performance check?
Says attempt a performance check against DC equal to
Uh,
that set by your own level as given on table 10.5 in the core rule book.
And we all heard you for that one.
Yikes.
My artwork here.
Not even trained in performance. Selectable?
Yeah.
Let's see, 1 second here. Oh, I know where it's at. There we go. Got all of them on there. Okay. So, what was your performance? Oh, you did a crit
He was aiding.
fail to
Oh.
aid.
Oh yeah.
It's like you were just breaking
time I
into
tried
the
to add
conversation at
detail,
the
it just went
wrong
terribly.
point.
Yeah, so I'd say in total, you guys can retell your tale, and I assume it's what is it? Is it played up at all? Is it by the book telling of it? Is it at all accusatory of our Tartuccio? What's the telling that you're giving?
What's the tone of it? Well, I think he knows that he can't share all the details, but I think he gives the sense that Tartuccio is a hanger-on more so than a hero of the story, even present. Like he tells the truth about what happens, but he doesn't necessarily outright disparage Tartuccio, right?
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that you told them a pretty fair telling then of that, and they seemed interested by some of the disparities that say between what you've told them and what they may have already heard. So you notice them sort of writing things down and looking at one another from time to time as you're telling your version of events, and yeah, they're trying to get a read on you. And I think, as far as you could tell, they seem to be very receptive to everything that you had to say. And again, they've shared their brandy with you and their camp with you, and they seem to be at ease with you. Eventually, they tell you that they traveled here from Rostov and that they wanted to be some of the first citizens to travel the roadways to see if what was said was true, that the bandit and the Stag Lord had been defeated, and they thought that this would be great to write about, and so they spent quite a bit of time in their telling of this, getting some information from Tartuccio, who they describe was awaiting them when they arrived at the fort, and granted them entry and showed them around and gave them his own version of events. That seems, again, there's a couple of differences between what he said and what you said, and unless you're going to press them on those specifics, they're just leaving it at that.
Yeah.
I'll press them on the specifics of whether or not Tartuccio included Nergra, the Stag Lord's neglected father. And can I do a second performance check to try to regale them about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that's a detail Tartuccio would do.
Absolutely, yeah. That would be that whole part of the story might be very different from what he could even make up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much of my camera is cat.
No, she can't see him. Yeah, so I think they definitely seem taken by that information. That was not something they heard before. So I think it lends some credibility to your side of the story when you say that. But again, like you get the sense that Tartuccio put on his own performance as well, and he was able to walk them around and describe in detail everything that happened and the way that the Stag Lord died, and all of those things seem to be a little bit inconsistent with what you are saying, but at the same time, he mentioned you all. Like, he didn't leave you out of his story. He says that you helped him. So they do say that, at least, maybe in their
good.
way of extending it all over. So they said it was grand of you to help him and aid him, and I'm sure maybe there's some merging of the two tales that needs to happen to bring these truths together.
A grand merging will occur. We will sort all of this out. By all means, do return to the fort at some point, and you will get the grandest retelling.
We are very fortuitous to have run into you this evening.
Us as well. Oh, it's so good
It's-
learning these things.
I think it's funny. It's like you like might look down almost and see like some of their notes that and like the name of a song that they were already starting to write that was so they're like they've bought in to
Right,
to the
yeah,
whole
we're-
tale.
We're telling the story late in their
Yeah.
literally in their book, and
Yeah.
they've already started forming their memories about what happened.
So anyway, you guys can go ahead and try to camouflage the site, and you can hunt and gather. You can each do essentially 2 or more if you choose to camping activities. And we'll plug in more role play with these guys. You can actually ask anything as we step through this if there's anything you're thinking, but I want to give you a chance to look at what you want to do in this extra time you've got, because you've basically only traveled about less than half a day.
You only get a +1 bonus to that skill check.
While you're looking at that, so one of the 2 travelers here, I need to get their names here real quick.
Oh, providing aid.
Andal and Noek, I'll put those into here, are the 2
I can do a
performers.
camouflage check because it said try to provide aid for the reckless performance.
Yeah, you could do aid instead.
Oh no, I meant like I tried to provide aid, but that counts as a camping activity.
Yeah.
And then
Well, it
I
did
also
say
did
that-
my own performance, so that's my 2.
So
Well, it does say you can do a camping activity outside of being in camp.
yeah, but this is basically
Oh,
every activity is 2 hours. So you guys stopped
Yeah.
early, so you could each do 3 activities if you wanted. Which, if you do want to provide aid as one of those activities, you could do that. But yeah, you really would have 3 activities each. So if you're trying, yeah, so whoever wants to go maybe in order, if others want to aid them, that would be one of their activities as well.
I can aid your camouflage attempt since you aided my
Yeah.
story.
there you go. I think right now I need a single +1 to get that be successful.
Oh, I see. You were trying because you got a 14. So yeah, if someone wants to
Yeah.
aid him,
Oh,
Yeah.
hero
Yeah.
point. Hero point.
you're gonna spend it. I think that's the last one you've got.
Why not?
All right, it doesn't really
No, it's
do
not.
anything too bad to you. Yeah.
You guys told a story, and Larry's hasn't really done anything else. Can more than one person attempt aid?
Yeah, you can if you choose to. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
We are not stealthing right now.
Yeah.
We've got a couple music people with us, so
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
a couple wine drinking musicians who set up camp right next to the road. It's
And it's kind of right. We're expecting somebody to come up on the camp tonight too. So
That's true.
This
Yeah.
is like Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones.
Anyway, heareth be Wonderwall.
So I was gonna say, as far as the performance that you put on earlier, Rekla, we could convert that into the telling of a campfire story, which is down here at the bottom.
That's what I paste in the results.
Okay.
I'm assuming that an 18 is a success and not a
Yes.
critical success.
No, it's a success.
So
yeah.
I pasted in the results of telling a campfire story. Everybody, if combat should happen, everyone gets a status bonus to attack, saving throws, and the skill checks.
Yeah,
Plus
so
one.
that means that the others, this is the important part, is that you'll have to spend one of your 2 remaining campfire activities relaxing so that you get the benefit of the campfire story, which is the +1 and +2 bonuses that it talks about. So
I think
No, that's
relaxing
not what
only
I
lets you re-roll a failed roll during the remainder of the camping session.
thought. Yeah, the way I read it meant something different.
Yeah, it looks like it's the end portion of that section, dealing with if you spend an hour relaxing.
Oh.
And that's outside of the
Oh, that's a
status
+2.
bonus.
Oh, I see. So you
Yeah.
could do a +2 if you spend it, or just get the +1. Gotcha.
That's yeah.
So that's an option for you guys if you want, but you do still all have more activities to do. I think everyone should have 2 more.
Yeah, if there is, we'll go ahead and while the tale is being told, go ahead and try to cook up some of our Stag Lord stew. Seems very appropriate for the telling of the tale.
Remember when the guy gave it to us in front of the...
I look at that like providing aid to the actual performance, man. If you were cooking that and he was telling the tale and then you served it to them, it really is providing
learned
aid.
This at the fort from the Stag Lord's own chef. It was a magical time. And we laughed and we ate and we sang.
And you know who wasn't there?
Yes.
And it was amazing because there was a Tartuccio-sized gap in between myself and Rekla, good friend Tartuccio, who was sadly not there.
Beautiful.
I don't think Tartuccio's ever even heard of Stag Lord stew.
So you can roll to cook it.
Okay.
See how it comes out. There you go. That's good. So everyone would get a +1 to all saves until the next day.
Do those stack for the performance table?
And I think so. I think it
Or
has
you
to
think-
stack on the. I
You
want
get
it to be a
+2
provide
to
aid. Yeah.
saves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good complement to the story. So perfect. That would be a level of detail that you would imagine very that they didn't cover in maybe. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do organized watch.
All right.
As soon as this roll this thing.
Oh.
There. God damn it.
Yeah. So you may have attracted unwanted attention, and you got to do a flat check against the zone's encounter DC to determine if a random encounter occurs. This is wonderful. Ah, you got it. You're actually good. You beat the zone DC.
Okay.
Again, it's those carousing and drinking, singing bards over there. It's just too much attention, too distracting.
There are zones that are higher than 20 in this campaign. So if you fail on that check, you're just guaranteed an encounter something.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're lucky you're still in the beginning region.
Yeah.
Right now. And you needed a mighty roll to not have something happen there. It was a 16. This is one of the easier areas, so you're right. You're right.
Yeah, flat checks against something that's got a DC higher than 20. It's just, you're all done.
Yeah.
I was wrong. There's an encounter DC for every zone, and none of them go above 20.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I think Dalet's done. You've done the stealth,
Yeah.
and you've done the organized watch. Did you do relaxation or provide aid? You think you did. You did provide aid.
No, I did my own performance for the druid whose name is escaping me.
Okay. Okay.
Look that up.
That's right. Okay, so you still have one more, I think, activity. Anyone else?
No, I think that's how I did the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anyone else have any other activity they wanted to do before?
I think Rekla's got one left, and he's just gonna do another hunt and gather.
And then if you just want to let me know what Dalet the watch order will be.
Oh god, I still get to make that.
Let's see. So
I guess we can.
yeah, I'll let you
stick
pick
with
the order.
Didn't we do earlier? Rekla, Voldarius, Dalet.
Voldarius, Rekla, Kirth, Dalet. For that's what we're talking about.
There you go.
Okay, so it says on a failure you find the number of basic ingredients equal to the zone's DC. So you find 16. All right, awesome. Okay, anything else anyone else wishes to do or to talk about with your new mates before you adjourn for the evening?
Oh, maybe our charter? Does our charter have our names on it?
Yeah, you would have a charter with your name on it, and so would Tartuccio.
But his would be of his name on a charter, and ours would be all of our names on a charter. Not that would prevent us from being allies or anything, but just thinking out loud, really.
Yeah, it probably more to your point would speak to the fact that you would be allies. Because you have the same paperwork and the same contact in Restov. So they're assuming you're allies is probably another takeaway from this too, is the retelling of this seems to acknowledge that you're allies, and that's what they assumed, is that you knew Tartuccio and everything he said was gospel, and that's where you raised their eyebrows. You got their attention that your story was quite different, and they seemed to, as many would, tune in on the highlights and the lowlights of each story. So it seems like they're almost blurring together the two things already in what they're choosing to talk about. But yeah,
I want to ask Kirth, actually, if the Soot Scales have heard of Tartuccio, if there had been Tartuccio talk around before Tartuc showed up, if since Tartuc's presence and initial arrival over there, if there was any kind of, because he wanted Tartuccio, as Tartuc wanted to take over the fort, if there was anything beyond Old Sharptooth that might have been overheard or might have come up or might have been used in any of that, trying to really just sowing seeds of malcontent within our last surviving kobold about their imposter chief.
so I think you might be amused by Kirth has figured out that if he takes a sip of brandy and coughs it out towards the fire, it makes him breathe fire. And as you're asking him this question, he's playing around with the brandy bottle and the fire, and he says, I never heard of Tartuccio, and this is in Draconic to you, Voldarius. Never heard of him until he came out of the blue one day and had everybody blinded by his tales, including our chief. But there's something off about him. Tartuc.
About Tartuc, yeah, okay.
But he never heard of Tartuccio otherwise. As you're asking those two things, it seems like he almost similarly maybe inserted himself into their world and proclaimed himself to be something he wasn't, and it worked. It worked pretty well for a while.
But what he doesn't have is the idol.
This is true.
Kirth
as Kirth fixes the
he's got his helmet.
Tightens up the strap like
is like the idol resting in the antlers is like their symbol, like it's up there as well, so that like he's got like all of his treasures right there on his head.
Oh, I think that would be super fun for him to do that and to dress that way. It would make him feel like a cult leader. So yeah, I think so. Absolutely. Yeah, so it's a attention-getting little get-up, but and I think the bards take notice of him too. Like they've taken special interest in Kirth. If he's wearing the helmet, then he must have been a key player, and so they seem to be as mesmerized by him as anyone else.
Oh yeah, and Valdarius will go ahead and sing the praises of Kirth the Ferocious and Scale tribe.
Oh, that sounds like a ballad. That would play well at Nevatka's Crossing.
My gift to you.
We will begin crafting the lyrics tomorrow on the road. We will be heading out early towards Olig's. We are going to continue to head north past Olig's as well. But we will sing of your triumph, and we will hope that you and Tartuccio can work things out between yourselves so that our stories will ring true.
Yes, do be sure to stop by the fort, and we will have our story straight.
So with that, we'll all have everybody settling down and in, and let's see. So during the first watch, Valdarius, you've been the first, maybe sitting up, probably with some of the conversations still ringing in your ears. The first part of the night goes by pretty easily here. Nothing to note. Reckless also similarly goes by with nothing to note. However, while you're all asleep during Kirth's watch, you feel a nudge on your shoulder, Valdarius. You feel these little kobold fingers shaking you awake tentatively, but his rider on the road approaches.
Single?
One rider.
All right. Go over and wake up Dalit first, and then the rider approaches.
And
can I do a perception check to swear?
Yeah, you can both do perception. Yep.
I perceive nothing.
You are still in a dream. Look at that.
Wow.
Hey, look at that.
Opposites.
Yeah. One of you is in the middle of REM sleep, while the other one is...
Yeah, I'm exactly still like sleeping with my eyes open, conversing. And Dalit's like springing up there like, all right, let's go, guys. I got 4 hours. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, Dalit, you get up, and Kirth is pointing in the direction down the roadway. You can all see the roadway from your campsite, so you're not terribly far off the roadway, but you can see in the moonlight a figure that appears to be riding towards you from the west. So from where you've already come, this rider is approaching. And you're able to right away, you get the sense that you recognize them, but you're not sure who it is. So it's just like, you're like, oh, I know who that is, but I don't know which one it is. And what I mean by that is you are dead sure it's one of the Southerners, just from their outline and the way that they're carrying themselves. It's one of the four. You don't know which, though. What would you like to do?
I will make myself known and shout out for them to halt and identify themselves.
All right. So the voice, after a moment, responds and says, "It's I, Vitali, from the south. I made my way with haste to catch up with you."
I'll invite him into the camp with us.
And he rides in and ties up the horse, looks around, sees, I guess at this point everyone would be stirred by this. He'll come in for a little bit of warmth by your fire, and he'll say, and number one, the horse that he was riding was one of the horses that you had brought. Looks like he tried to ride out in front of everyone else, and he says to you that, yes, it seems that there's been a little stir at Olig's upon the arrival of the Restovians. Their telling of events stirred things up with Olig, and he didn't take kindly to their offensive retelling of the story. Needless to say, we left as soon as we could, because we didn't want to be a part of the scuttlebutt, but the others are behind me, maybe by a few hours. They will catch up and join you But I should warn you that they seem convinced that this Tartuccio is a true hero.
Oh, such a hero.
It's all right. The truth will reveal itself.
Either way, I assume our arrangement will have to wait until we confirm this. What is this? It's a gnome. He's a gnome, I hear.
Yeah, sometimes he's not, and it's exciting.
Others seem to have a little bit of, I don't know, distrust after this recent encounter.
They are welcome to join us in that as well.
I hope that they will stick with the plan. I hope that they will trust that you are true to your word, and that we will find a way to. I am here to let you know that they are on the way. However, we do only have this single horse with us. The other we did leave. He'll tie the horse up, and I think this was the one that Fen Warden would have been riding before. So you would all recognize it as well as the one that he was riding in the other direction. But yeah, so he makes camp with you, and he says, "I'm sorry to roll in as a bump in the night. I'm sure you're relieved that I'm not something else, but I wanted to make sure I made contact with you." Alaric did return and told us of your swimming, Dalit, in the hole in the ground. Your profitable
It's
swimming.
unfortunate we didn't find Svet. Perhaps fortunate. Was being alive there.
Oleg seemed to take the news with some relief, honestly. think he was hoping that she would hear nothing. So, hope remains alive with him, but I know not what we could do for him. And maybe him and the Restovians will sort it out, and they may be able to help him after all. But he certainly has been giving them an earful and his own version of events, so it has confirmed for us that what you speak is the truth. With that, he will maybe get a little bit of the leftover Stag Lord stew even. That's maybe dried on to something, but he's just gonna finish what's left and don't mind me, go back to bed now. And that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess we'll just go back to sleep.
So Kirth will hand it off actually to Dalit for the last watch.
Yeah.
And Dalit, nothing happens during your part of the watch either. So morning comes, and with the morning, you don't see yet any of his party, but you assume that you'll run into them if you stay longer or you travel slow. You assume they'll catch up to you today.
Are the bards gone?
Yeah, so the bards, I think you would hear them getting ready to leave the camp very early in the morning, just as you would be. So you may have a few last words with the bards as they're packing up. You guys would see each other. And I think that's the interesting part, is that they would take notice of your friend, and they might even, what you might first notice is that you're awoken by the conversation that the bards are having with Vitali and his version of events of what happened at Oleg's, right? So I think maybe even he's helping to fill in and reinforce your side of the story.
Yeah, then before they take off, go ahead and just ask that they keep their eyes open for the rest of the Southerners who should be coming along from that direction, and advise them to hustle up and catch up with us.
Okay. We will definitely do that. And again, we will sing your praises. I'm sure the story in our retelling will be even grander. And one day we will cross paths again.
No doubt.
All right.
I'm going to wring his neck.
So you all are able to then hit the road. Andrew, if you can do a 3d20 roll for me. I'm going to determine today's weather. Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah, I think as you start out early in the morning, You remember yesterday it was pretty foggy, and today it's foggy again. Very foggy. In fact, so foggy it's actually smoky. And as you're traveling, you start to realize that there must be a blaze nearby, and it's causing a lot of smoke in the area. So it's at this point going to be difficult for you all to travel. You'll have to slow down your travel a little bit to be able to care for some of your breathing. Basically, it's going to be half movement. You're still basically the roadway's clear, but there seems to be brush fires and things that have happened in this direction, and you're traveling into the thick of it. So, everyone will need to. Does anybody have any feats or anything around like holding their breath or anything like that? Otherwise, you can all do survival checks. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, so Valdarius and Dalit, you're both able to find a way to travel where you can move at half speed. However, Rekla, you're finding it really difficult to breathe and to keep your eyes open in this, and so your speed is now reduced to quarter speed. So you're unless you guys are gonna do something with Rekla, maybe you could.
I could get on the horse.
You could put him on the horse. I do need to roll survival for everyone else in your group too, real quick, just to see how they're doing. Oh, there we go. Kirth is rolled a nat 20,
Nice.
so he's
Well,
not.
yeah.
He's low to the ground. The smoke's over his head.
He is not bothered by it.
I was gonna say he's soot scale, so he's used to smoke.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. But the horse is also is bothered by it. So the horse is already going to move slower, but a quarter speed for a horse would be faster than half your speed. So it's able to compensate for your loss of speed
Right.
if you're riding it. So yeah, you're basically walking through smoke for hours, and it's miserable. It's not fun at all, but you're able to see and track the roadway throughout your travels and eventually get yourselves moved on to the next hex. Let's see. Yeah, throughout the day as you're traveling, you don't see anybody out there. You can't see much anyway at all. So I guess that's the good news, is that you're not moving very far, but because of the smoke and the lack of visibility, you're also not encountering anything, and so you're making a little bit of progress, and eventually you get yourselves to a place where the smoke is not as thick. You can start to see a little bit of the terrain ahead of you again, and when you look back upon it, you can see definitely that there appears to be a large brush fire that has swept through, and where you stand right now, it seems like there's another one in front of you, so you're almost between these two waves in the fire. So it gives you an opportunity possibly to wander north off of the roadway to get away from some of the fire, or I should have said south off the roadway, because the fire is on the north side of the road. So that's an option, or you could just continue to press through the smoke.
Our speed be affected by going off road to the south,
So you're moving half speed on the road, which basically you'd be moving at equal speed,
but not dealing with
but
the
not
smoke.
dealing with the smoke. Yeah, and you'd be heading towards the old Sycamore and Fort Sorrenco from off of the roadway. So that's an option as well. But if not, again, you can just travel through it again. Could try to travel through it again.
What do y'all think?
We've got people following behind us that are supposed to be trying to catch up with us at some point. I'd hate to be off the road and have us
Miss them
pass,
somehow.
some way.
Okay.
Yeah, let's deal with the smoke.
All right. So
Yeah, just slow.
press on through. And again, you're slowed, but you're making your way down the roadway, and eventually you reach a point when you feel like you're running out of time to try to set up a campsite for the evening, if that's your intent, or if you want to continue traveling later, which you can
I think
do.
we want them to catch up to us, so we probably will set up earlier rather than later.
All right, so I guess they'll just run through. So in this case, you would have been traveling the whole day. This would be a regular situation, I believe, where unless you guys are pulling up early, you tell me. Basically, it's just trying to figure out, are you going to have 2 hours or 4 hours before dark is essentially the question.
4, just 2, yeah.
Probably the lesser time one of I'd say 2.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that would give you each then one camping action that you can take. First, you do need to find your site, so whoever wants to do your survival first roll will be the... Okay, so yeah, you don't have too much of a problem finding a suitable campsite, and then now you can go ahead and roll through your different activities if you would like to cook, camo, or hunt, gather. There you go.
There we go.
Reclo cook.
Oh, a little change of pace, yeah. Darius might think that his version of the Stag Lord stew last night wasn't up to par, and now you're stepping in to try to see if you can do any better.
Oh, I see how it is.
I just wanted a shot at making the Stag Lord stew like you made the other night. It was so good.
Very good recovery. That was a diplomacy
Oh,
roll.
sweet.
So, does anyone want to? Oh, let me see. I guess you could have Kirth aid you if you wanna go to that extent.
Let's give that a try.
Do I have a? Oh yeah,
We don't
there's
have an NPC for him.
yeah, under companions.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
And their sheet's a little different. It's in the
Yeah, I got to it. But he doesn't have a survival check.
if you want to just then
Roll a 20.
d20. I need to update him anyway, make him like a creature 2, level 2. Okay, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You don't get any. I guess that's the thing is you
It's
just
just-
don't get
yeah,
any
it's a-
real benefit from it. You
Yeah.
get sustenance, but you don't get any benefit from it. And for bragging rights, little Darius still has the better version. So
It was a valiant effort.
yeah.
Just a few things we can tweak, but we'll get you there.
It's funny too because Kirth probably doesn't know better, like to really. He's just probably still very blunt. Like he's probably just like this is good. Darius's was better. It's just very matter of fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got that all figured out. I guess we're back to organizing the watch. Whatever your watch order is, it's the same order. I'll just run it through again. Let's see.
I'm going to go ahead and do some hunting and gathering. I hadn't done one yet, so I
Right.
will.
That is a success. So I think was it 2 times the DC? What was it?
Equal to the DC plus 1d4 special improvements.
Okay, so 16 plus 3 special. All right, so I'm going to run with that as the watch order. Anything else anyone wants to do before watch on this
I don't think
smoky
so.
evening? Okay. All right, so we got 4 of you. Okay, so I think just even before, just as like others are settling down to get some rest and Voldarius, you're taking your watch, you notice on the roadway behind you that there are 3 figures headed towards you, and you quickly surmise that they are the other Southerners who have pushed through more of the smoke today than even yourself have. And they stumble into camp not looking too great, but at the same time, they're still sturdy enough to have gotten there. So I think they're coughing and tired and everything else, and they're rolling in pretty much right at the same time that everyone else was ready to get some rest. They may settle in and try some of the stew, which to them is going to taste amazing no matter what. It's their favorite ever. And with that, I think they would meet with Vitali. They would tell Vitali of their travel, and they would tell all of you of their travel. Pretty much echoes everything you've been through. And yeah, they'll settle in and fall into the watch order here with the rest of you as well. So you guys now have 8 of you in your camp. And let me type all their names in too, so you have all of their names again. What was the other guy? Amiri. Okay. All right. So the 4 Southerners have now joined you. Again, they're telling you a little bit of the tale of how the Restovians were rebutted in their telling of events and some of what unfolded at Oleg's. Although he hosted them hospitably, it seemed like they had a very animated conversation about things, and they thought it was a great time to split. So they did, and they found themselves now on the roadway, walking through the fog and then the smoke. And let's see, for the rest of the evening, the smoke subsides during the night, and as you all awaken the next morning, it's clear. The skies are clear, and there's no smoke in your way. Although when you look westward into the distance, you can see still some clouds of smoke in that direction. So it seems like it's moving westward. And you guys can set out on the next day towards the fort. I think you only have... How much longer do we have on the road here? I think this would be the last day of travel. This would be... You would arrive at the fort basically by the end of the day, or if you push through, you could probably arrive at the fort a little bit before that. What is your mode of travel? You have a horse now that you don't necessarily have to ride, Rekla. So who's on the horse, and what's the general order after the horse?
Probably have Dalit out front, I would think.
Okay, Dalit on horseback.
Then
It's okay. You don't have to give me like a
let's
full order. I'm just
probably-
looking more
yeah.
like, are you in the middle or are you in the back?
Let's put Rekla and Kirth in the middle of the Southerners, and then Voldarius and Dalit can be leading the whole crew.
All right. Okay. All right. So it's that is general. I think I've skipped Voldarius would be at the back. I think he's or where did you want Voldarius?
I'd be up closer towards between like Dalit and the rest of the group.
Okay. So we'll put the... There we go, like that. All right, cool. So I guess, Ben, if you could do a 3d20, please.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check the weather.
It says it's rolling the dice.
All right, it's working on it.
Yeah.
While it's working on it, if everyone would like to give perception checks, please. There we go.
Hey, there it is.
Got it. Weather-wise, it's not too bad. It's just overcast today. Maybe it's partly fog or smoke, but just a fairly temperate, moderate day otherwise. And as you're going on your journeys here, Dalit makes sense, is in front on horseback and is the first to notice a figure standing off the roadway as you're now heading southern in a southerly direction, and you see this figure from a distance, and with that roll, Dalit, you recognize it to be what you think is a Lizardfolk
Those guys
standing
are all over the place.
on the side of the roadway, and it looks like he's preoccupied with something that he's almost like working on something off to the side of the roadway where he's moving around. Doesn't seem to be terribly concerned about your approach. As you do get closer and you take a look, you notice that there is a Lizardfolk indeed in a clearing, and he appears to be gutting a boar as you're rolling up on him, and he's seems to notice you, but at the same time doesn't seem scared off by your approach. So he just continues to process this boar as you ride closer. Now you're probably a little ways in front of the rest of the group, so anything Dalit would do?
No, I can't remember any reason we would have to just talk to random.
Yeah, I feel like we wanted
I guess
to. I feel like we wanted to talk to lizard folk for one reason or another, but I think it was that specific guy for something.
We were looking for somebody about the The Lizardfolk knew something about the Stag Lord's ritual guy, I think, something like that.
Oh, you were trying to find you were trying to find his father at the time. You didn't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
Negro. Yeah.
Somebody said the Lizardfolk know. Right, the Lizardfolk always know, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or was that about the?
Well,
That was about the sword, right? Wasn't that about the Hungering Blade?
Oh,
Yeah, I think
Was it?
you had heard
maybe.
partly about that from them too. Mm-hmm.
The kobold said the lizards know. That's a
In your
line
notes.
from my first session here. Just the lizards know, says the kobolds. Cool, great. What does
what
that
do they
mean?
know?
This might all come up as you approach the lizard folk if you choose to speak with him. I think you would all be now closer to it to see what's going on. It again just looks like it's hunted and killed this boar and is cutting it up. And it would nod at you as you approach to let that it's not,
Ignoring us.
yeah, ignoring you.
Yeah. I'll give it a wave and a head nod for sure.
All right.
If it wants to ignore us for the most part, I'll leave it be.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's when maybe Kirth would be like the one that would repeat what they've told you before is lizard folks know a lot. They know a lot.
I think Rekla will speak up and say, Met, congratulations on your successful hunt.
Thank you.
We had a friend or an ally go missing recently. Her name is Svetlana, and she resided with her husband Oleg at the trading post to the northwest of here. You haven't happened to have seen her in your travels, have you?
A human woman,
She is a human woman.
not recently, but I normally don't come this far north to watch who travels this roadway. But my kill led me here, and I can't say I've heard of or seen any human women in some time.
I thank you for your time.
Are you responsible for the Stag Lord?
You've noticed our friend's headdress, have you?
I have. It is one of a kind. For those of us who have seen it before worn by another, it
Yes, we gladly removed it from his dead head.
that's wonderful news. And I think with that, you notice that he's really paying a lot more attention to you. He's really not. He went from if
Maybe
you were a bird.
studying us a little bit now.
Yeah, now he's really taking it in as far as what you're telling him. And he says, "Oh, this news will go over very well in my tribe, and this food will too. I hope to bring this back to them today. Where are you
We
off
are
to?"
glad. We are glad of it. We are on our way to Fort Sorrenco. It is our intent to help stabilize these lands from the things that have blighted it over the many years. We hope to establish an equilibrium with those who live here, like you and your tribe. We have encountered other of the lizard folk. Jowlek, I believe, was his name, and
Make
I had another
a
name.
diplomacy check, Rekla.
We have had fine encounters with lizard folk of your kind, and I know not if they are of your tribe, but we do offer allyship and assistance to those who seek peace in the land.
You share with him that you're like chartered and that you're going to be establishing lands here. Is that sort of
I
what you're
think that would be
yeah.
part of the, maybe not into all the details, but
Right.
yeah.
Okay. I think I think you explain yourself really well and in a way that for him is easy to understand that you're being authentic. But he looks a little bit concerned for a moment and then he says, "I fear anyone who allies with the purple gnome will not find a warm reception from my people.
The purple gnome does not receive a warm reception from us either.
I think, yeah, this is where I'd probably have the whole group make a diplomacy check to see how well he feels how important is it to you all to make an ally with him is what he's trying to get a sense of. Reckless, the only.
Oh, you want a second one from me? All right.
If you do one more. There you go.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, so two of the three of you hit it, and I think like you get the sense that when you refute your allegiance, that you make it known to him, you're not allied with Tartuccio. Then I think you definitely see him get a warmer response to that, and I think also because of your story that you told Rekla about some of your previous travels and the other lizard folk you'd run into. Perhaps you had mentioned Brommel was one of the lizard folk you ran into. That would be a familiar name for this lizard folk. So something like that would also put them at ease, that if you've made contact with other lizard folk and to the point that they gave you their name, that's usually like a trustworthy sign for him. And so
Yeah.
he says, then I will bring good word back to my tribe of you and set them straight on the record. And if there's anything we could do to help you unseat the purple gnome, don't be afraid to ask.
It is our intent to establish Fort Sorrenco as a stronghold for the traders and the people of the area. So it will not be in his hands long. And need of us, you may get word to us through Fort Sorrenco.
Very well. Thank you. And I wish you well. And with that, he'll actually he'll have a shank of the boar that he cut and hands over to you all.
I was
And
just about to say I wanted to give him some of the ingredients that we found while hunting and gathering. So we'll do a little
There you go.
trade of foods.
Even better.
Something nice and earthy to complement the boar
Mm-hmm.
for him, so that way he can take it back.
Ryok is the name of this lizard folk, and he gladly exchanges some boar meat for some other ingredients from you. I'll let you decide how much you want to give him, but you can add that you have a boar shank to your special ingredient list, and yeah, and I think that will, he'll head off in that direction. You guys will travel the rest of the day to reach the fort, and where we'll leave it is you all are on the hill approaching the fort, where you remember there are some strange occurrences and things happening in the hills and area just outside of Fort Sorrenco, and so you're being cautious to stay on the roadway and not wander off into the cemeteries and things in that area when you arrive at the sort of opening where you can see the fort in the distance. And as you get there to the fort that you see in the distance and you look up, it looks the same except for one noticeable change.
It better not be a flag.
There's some purple flag set above the fort that stands out to you that you hadn't seen before. But otherwise, it looks the same.
Just as we left it.
Just as you left it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that it's been claimed.
Small
but-
detail.
It pains me because purple's my actual favorite color.
And
Well,
it's got such a
I don't
bad
see
connotation
I
here.
don't see it anymore. I don't see it.
You could take the Keller along with the fort back from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
But
where
I'm a gnome too, so I can't
You have
do
a-
the purple gnome
He's
thing
making
now.
gnomes
Yeah.
look bad, though.
Much like
That's
To
true.
defend the gnomishness, he's making gnomes look bad.
I know, I hate it.
We'll stop there and we'll pick up next time where you guys can approach the fort and see who's there and see what's gonna happen next.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Cool. Awesome,
All
guys.
right.
Thanks.
See you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll see you in a
Alright.
couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Have a great night, everyone.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.